if you turn to me and you say, hey, Michael, I want to get the highest quality sleep that I possibly can. How do I go about doing that? I have a 5-step process that I can show you exactly how to do it. So step number 1 is to wake up at the same time 7 days a week. There's no catch-up sleep in this, okay? Catch-up sleep is complete BS. It is not possible. I'm going to explain to you why in just a second.
Nice.
Step number 1 is to wake up at the same time 7 days a week. This does 2 things. It keeps your circadian rhythm in line. It also tells your brain when to produce melatonin. So let's break down the science here very quickly. So when we wake up in the morning, our eyes open up, light hits our eyeball and sends a signal to our brain to turn off the melatonin faucet in our head. This clears the cobwebs, allows us to wake up and move forward. Everybody knows that little fact, but what people don't know is at the same time that it turns off the melatonin faucet, it sets a timer for approximately 14 hours later to start melatonin. So follow the logic, Gooch. If you're waking up at 6 a.m. every single day during the week, at 8 o'clock at night, that's when your melatonin is going to kick off again, right? 14 hours later. But if on Saturday you decide to sleep until 9, newsflash, 14 hours later means your body isn't going to start producing the melatonin that you're looking for 3 hours, which means 11 o'clock is when it starts, which means your whole schedule gets thrown off. So by waking up at 6 every single day, you know your body is ready to kick off at 8, which is the right time for melatonin, because it takes 90 minutes once it kicks off for it to even begin to take an effect. So step number 1, wake up at the same time every single day, including the weekends. That's the longest explanation. Everything else is quite simple. Step number 2 is to stop caffeine by 2 p.m. Reason behind that, most people don't know it, but caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 8 hours. So if you stop at 2, 8 hours later is 10 o'clock, which is roughly when most people are trying to fall asleep. So if you stop by 2, at least 50% of the caffeine is out of your system, which turns out to be an important number. If at least 50% is out, it's much easier to fall asleep. What would be better? Stopping at 12. What would be better? Stopping at 10. So what I tell all my patients is start out, stop at 2, do that for 2 months. Once you lock and load that, move it back an hour. Do it for 2 months, move it back an hour. See if you can really get your caffeine consumption, if you need it at all, into a subscribed period of time, so that way it doesn't have a big effect on your sleep. Step number 3 has to do with alcohol. There's a really big difference between going to sleep and passing out. Okay, so
I think I've done both.
I have as well. And so the goal here is to avoid the passing out. It all has to do with the amount of alcohol that you drink and how close it is to lights out. More alcohol closer to lights out has bigger effects on sleep. So my step number 3 is to stop alcohol 3 hours before bed and limit it to 2 drinks during your meal. That way you can move through, have a nice glass of wine, a beer, a cocktail, whatever happens to be your thing. Enjoy yourself, relax, but it doesn't have a massive effect on your sleep. Step number 4 is one that I know you like, which is exercise. I want people to exercise every single day, but if you do it too close to bedtime, you increase your core body temperature, it makes it very difficult to sleep. So step number 4 is to stop exercise 4 hours before bed. Step number 5 has to do with your morning routine. It's very easy. You're going to do 3 different things. Step number 1, 15 deep breaths, just sitting on the edge of your bed and bringing in the air. What this does is it wakes up your respiratory system, but it makes you very present. So you are aware of everything that's going on. Step number 2, drink 15 ounces of water. Don't complain about it, just slam it, okay? Everybody wakes up dehydrated. You know, most people don't know, but sleep in and of itself is a dehydrative event. Sure. People lose almost a full liter of water just from the humidity in their breath. One liter. 1 liter. Can you believe that?
Yeah. And even if it's like people realize, like I live out in the mountains and when it's cold, you don't think you're dehydrated. But crazy you are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then the third part of that step program is to get 15 minutes of sunlight, walk outside and get 15 minutes of sunshine. The reason we do that is that sunlight hits your eyeball, turns off the melatonin faucet, and 15 minutes is the exact amount of time that your body needs to produce vitamin D. Remember, vitamin D is a circadian pacemaker. So in summary, step number 1, wake up at the same time every day. Step number 2, stop caffeine by 2 p.m. Step number 3, stop alcohol 3 hours before bed. Step number 4, exercise daily, but stop exercise 4 hours before bed. And step number 5 is do the 3 15s, 15 deep breaths, 15 ounces of water, and 15 minutes of sunshine.